Parents, do you have kids that suffer from low self-confidence, maybe a little bit of anxiety? My name's Steve Hiscoe. I'm the owner of Hiscoe Jiu-Jitsu here in Chilliwack, BC, and I want to welcome you to a series of videos I'm going to be doing called Unleashing Confidence the Hiscoe Jiu-Jitsu Way. Essentially a series of videos with some exercises that we can do with our kids to help boost and increase their self-confidence. Self-confidence is a crucial asset for kids to have, kids, teenagers, adults, to have while we navigate all those challenges that we're going to experience through life. Especially kids going through elementary school. I have one going through middle school, high school, getting into the college years. Self-confidence is kind of like a superpower that they need to be able to kind of navigate, like I said, those challenges with resilience and self-assurance. So stay with me for this video, and at the end I have an exercise that we can do with our kids to help them gain more self-confidence. I started doing martial arts when I was about 7 years old. That would be 1975. I came home from school a few too many times, likely complaining about maybe being pushed around in school. And my mom and dad at the time decided that same thing, self-confidence was absolutely something that I needed. So we enrolled at one of the local martial arts schools. I was 7 at the time, and that's where I really started to feel the benefits of training in martial arts. And I likely didn't realize it right when I first started, but as I stayed with it and I could see other aspects of life getting a little bit easier. I got my black belt when I was 14 years old, and that was a great accomplishment. I got it at the same time as my dad. And that really helped boost my confidence even more. I started helping as an assistant instructor in some of the classes at our school. I would lead warm-ups, I would help new students onto the mat, almost a little mini leadership kind of role, if you want to call it that. Eventually being able to kind of lead more of the classes, and as I got into my middle teens, later teens, being able to teach complete classes. When I was in grade 9, so I got my black belt just before going into grade 9, and when I went into grade 9, I joined the student council. So completely out of my element with a lot of older kids, but really helped develop even more confidence working in groups of people, leading small committees of people, and really kind of continuing on that leadership sort of role within my school. When I got to grade 12, I was the school president. Acclaimed. Nobody sort of wanted to run against me, I guess, or volunteered. I don't know. And when I was about 17 years old, I joined the Canadian Armed Forces Reserve as a field engineer. So again, just kind of continuing to build on all of those little things that I had done in my life that kind of propelled me to kind of continue to be confident in my life and what I was doing. Being with the reserves, I would go away for the summers. We would work in groups, be in challenging circumstances. Being a field engineer, we worked with explosives. We learned how to build bridges and really sort of working as a cohesive group of people. When I was 19 years old, one of the parents whose kids I was teaching at the dojo was an RCMP member and asked me, very simple question: Steve, what are you going to do with your life? And at that point, it was all about jiu-jitsu. Literally, I lived at the dojo. I was there 4 or 5 days a week, except for the nights where I was at my reserve unit. And so I said, jiu-jitsu is what I'm going to do. So I went home and talked to my mom and dad about the conversation I had had and joining the police force, and put my my resume together, applied. That was in April of '88. And in January of 1989, on the 3rd of January specifically, I signed on the dotted line. They gave me plane tickets and said, be in Regina. Be at the airport this afternoon at 1 o'clock. You're flying to Regina. And I was 20 years old. And leaving home, I had $1,000 in my pocket, a brand new suit, some clothes, didn't have a car, nothing. And off I went to the police academy. And I spent 6 months in Regina. And because of the confidence that I had, I saw a lot of my troop mates applying to go to Eastern Canada. So I decided, why not take a challenge, make it opposite and go west. And I grew up in Ottawa, and now I was transferred to Abbotsford, British Columbia. So right on the British Columbia, Washington border. And that's where I started my policing career as a 21-year-old because I turned 20 at the police academy. Many ups and downs, being so young, being a police officer and going to lots of different complaints. I still remember my first complaint, and I was shaking like crazy, and it was a elderly lady who suffered from Alzheimer's, who had walked away from home and was sitting at a gas station and didn't know where home was. And I still remember that day driving up Marshall Road, being super nervous. But you know what? Sort of the confidence that I had in myself to be able to kind of get the job done is what was required. And of course, I had ups and downs during my career, positions that I wanted that I didn't get, that eventually I did get. I wanted to be a drug investigator at one time, and I thought I had a great shot. I was doing some volunteer work, and all of a sudden the position that I wanted, somebody moved into. And somebody that wasn't even in our detachment at the time just kind of parachuted into the position. Being so young, I didn't know the process, but you know what? I kept working hard, I kept volunteering with those guys, and eventually I got the position. I did my time, our detachment shut down, and then I moved to another detachment, and that was a challenge as well. Meeting new people, working with new people, a little bit of a bigger community. But at this time, I was a little bit senior, so I had to take on, again, a little bit more of a leadership role. And as I continued in that role, I then decided that my Jiu-Jitsu, I wanted to make that my work passion as well. So I applied to be a use of force instructor with the RCMP. Now, while that is happening, I'm still teaching Jiu-Jitsu. I had started taking karate in Abbotsford, and the people that I was doing karate with wanted to learn Jiu-Jitsu, so I was kind of doing both, teaching them and taking karate classes at the same time. And eventually, I opened, along with my business partner, a full-time Jiu-Jitsu school. So work, family, and a full-time school. So a lot on my plate. And what I didn't know was what I didn't know. I didn't know how to be a business person. So my school suffered financially. I had to close it. And that was a big blow to my confidence. And I always thought this is what I was going to do, but I didn't know what I was doing. And so what I did is I continued to teach part-time for many, many, many years in different places. So I would rent space from somebody else. Eventually, I rented space from a karate school in Chilliwack. And what I did was I researched what kind of school I wanted. What did it take to run a full-time martial arts school? And from there, and putting all of those pieces together, not worrying about the fact that I had closed a school. Now I was in a much better financial place, coming in with some funds. Coming in with a base of clients and a good reputation. I was able to reopen my school in 2011. School has been operating for close to 12, 13 years in a full-time capacity. We are doing extremely well, and we have a great reputation in our community. But The challenge was learning how to do it right. I thought I did, and I didn't. And the idea behind self-confidence is not giving up, is learning from your mistakes. So I learned from my mistakes, and now I'm doing much better. And one of the goals that I have is to try and help others and help my students kind of develop that self-confidence so that they can move forward and be confident people in their lives. So we're going to talk about that. And one of the things that we talk to our students about when we talk about self-confidence is believing in yourself. So I did believe in myself, and I did believe that I could run a full-time successful school. So we ask our students to believe in themselves, to believe in their abilities, and to believe in their judgments. So that is the crux of the self-confidence classes that we're trying to impart, and the knowledge we're trying to impart to our students. Believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, and believe in your judgment. We ask them to kind of think back. Something that you did that maybe was difficult and that you achieved, right? Where they believed in themselves. And they didn't get down on themselves thinking, this is too hard, I'll never be able to do this, I'm a loser, I'm a quitter. You know what? That's the other piece about all of this, is your mindset. That mindset of confidence, that mindset of seeing those challenges through. And if things are difficult, being able to ask for assistance. When I was researching and how to open my new school, I didn't mind asking other people for advice, and I asked many people for advice. So, finding what we like to do, finding those little pieces of, successful things that we've done. And I talk to the kids about having a little bag of confidence that we walk around with. So all of these little things that we've done, that we've achieved, it might be learning how to ride a bike. It might be learning how to swim. It might be starting to learn a new language. It could be skateboarding. Here at the dojo, we talk about that first hip throw, that first really good time where you're managed to throw somebody properly. All of those little successes, the time you stood up in front of a class and gave a warm-up, the time that you stood up in front of a class at school and gave a lecture or a book report, or even for the smaller kids, being able to get up in front of the class as show and tell and explain, what you have that is so special to you. So being able to take all of those successes and building this bag of confidence that you have, that you carry around with yourself, and really having them kind of think about those things when they're not feeling so awesome about themselves. Kind of go back and think about all of those successes, all of those little ones put together. Recently, I was listening to a podcast, and it was about mindset, and it was about taking action. So that's why I'm doing this video, is I want to take action, and I want to help other people, and I want to help my students sort of develop that self-confidence in themselves. And part of the podcast was on creating content, and something that they were talking about had actually just recently happened to me, and it was a little bit of a blow to my self-confidence. Is I had done a anti-abduction seminar, and I had posted some techniques of what we had done with the kids, and one of them was a specific takedown. And I posted the video, and the video was posted, it's been up for several years, and it's got 11,000 views, I believe it is, and many, many comments. And I share it with people who want to learn this program and get great comments from everybody and positive feedback. And the other day I got one comment where somebody wrote, "This technique is garbage." And it really kind of took me back a little bit. I'm used to kind of seeing those kind of things from online, commenters and things where, they hide behind their keyboard and whatnot. But still, it was a little bit of a blow. It kind of pricked a little hole in my confidence bag, and some of my confidence was leaking out. But then I remembered what we had discussed, or what was discussed in the podcast, which was, again, think back to all the positive comments that you received on that video. Think back of all the great feedback other instructors have given you on that video. Think back to all the positive comments from parents who have seen the seminar and me teach that technique to their kids to help keep them safe, right? So don't worry about maybe that one or two people that really have something negative to say. Think about all the other people who have really stood behind you, supported you, given you that great feedback, held your hand, during those difficult times. That's what you kind of want to remember. Those are the pieces that continue to fill our bag of confidence. The only person that is going to really be able to impact your destiny is yourself. You're the only person that's going to be able to impact your destiny. You just need to decide how you want that destiny to look. Do you want to be a happy person who has accomplished things? Because people who accomplish typically are happier. Or, do we want to be kind of that anxious person who lacks the self-confidence, who doesn't put themselves out there, right? I think we want to have kids. We want to be that person who is out there, who does have self-confidence. When somebody asks for a volunteer, this is something else that we talk about in our kids class. When somebody asks for a volunteer, put your hand up. Be confident enough to be the first person to put your hand up and volunteer for what that person is asking. One of the examples that we use in class is a new student in a school, and the teacher asks for a volunteer and nobody puts their hand up. So the teacher asked you to do it. And I asked my students, why do you think the teacher asked you to introduce and to tour this new student around your school? Likely because they have confidence in you that you're going to do a great job. If they didn't have confidence in you, they wouldn't have asked you. They would have found somebody else to do that. Because introducing somebody brand new into an environment, into a school who they know nobody, is super important. That is extremely important, because that is going to have a long-lasting effect on that student in that school. So if the wrong person takes them around and introduces them, that student has the potential of not fitting in or not enjoying their experience at that school. So the fact that the teacher asked you to do that important job, shows that they have confidence in you. So again, we need to have confidence in ourselves. We need to believe in our abilities. We need to believe in our judgment, that we're making the right decisions. As long as we're well informed and we know right from wrong, we're making the right decisions, and we believe in ourselves. I'm going to come back next and give you that exercise. This exercise is called Confidence Inventory. And I'm just going to read parts of it so I make sure that I get it right. Confidence Inventory exercise is designed to help our kids and teens appreciate their achievements, their strengths, and positive qualities. So by reflecting on this, we're trying to get them to create some self-awareness and boost their self-confidence. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask them to take a piece of paper and pen and a little bit of time, and to list out those achievements. What do they think are the main achievements in their life, wherever they're at that point, that is significant to them. We want them to write down what their strengths are. Maybe they're a good person, they help out around the house, they're a good friend, whatever they think their strengths are. and as well as their positive qualities. What do they think their positive qualities are? And we're going to encourage them to think both big and small. So it doesn't have to be, major life accomplishments. Again, it could just be small things. Previously, we talked about learning to ride a bike, learning to skateboard. Where they are at their life now, learning to ride that bike is probably not a big deal, but it most likely was at that time. Or learning to swim, or like I said, that skateboard. I can't ride a skateboard, right? Or if they're in an activity, the first time they did something significant in that activity, reading in front of the class, learning to read, book report in front of the class. Maybe they had a dance recital. My son, when he was 6 years old, came home and said, I want to be in the talent show. I was like, awesome, you're going to do jiu-jitsu in the talent show. And he said, I'm going to dance. You mean jiu-jitsu? Nope, I'm going to dance. And he practiced, and he got up on stage in front of the entire school, and he danced, and he did a great job. He did a triathlon when he was 7 years old, and not a huge triathlon, but swim, bike, and run. And all of these little accomplishments that have really helped increase his self-confidence. And sure, every once in a while it takes a little bit of a hit, and we have to go back and remind them of all of those things. So making that list with our kids, with your kids, of all of those things that they've done that, really had an impact on them. So once that list is done, get them to share the list with you, right? Get them to share the list with you. Get them to read what are those accomplishments, those strengths and personal qualities. Ask them how they felt while coming up with the list. Ask them how they felt coming up with that list. And ask them if anything on the list surprised you, right? Is there anything on that list that maybe they wrote down that surprised you? Because maybe we see their accomplishments and their achievements differently than how they see them. And if you do, ask them about it. Ask them, how do you think recognizing these positive aspects of yourself can help boost your confidence? So have that discussion like we've had, that accomplishing all of those things should really be building our confidence, that bag of confidence that we walk around with is super important. So getting them to recognize all of these things that you've done are super awesome, they're super amazing. You are a super awesome and amazing person. Look at all the things that you've done. Look at the person you are. Look at your strengths. Look at all these positive qualities that you have. They need to kind of recognize that. We need to help them recognize that in order to enhance that self-confidence. Encourage them to keep that list somewhere and to keep adding to it, so that when they have that pinprick in their bag of confidence and some of it starts to leak out, we can go back to that list, have another look at it, seal that bag up, and then keep moving forward, and letting them know that one circumstance isn't and shouldn't blow their self-confidence out of the water, right? It's a learning opportunity. Believing in ourselves, believing in our abilities, and believing in our judgments. And sometimes the things that we're going to be doing are difficult. That's what makes them challenging. That's what makes finishing them a huge accomplishment, right? So making them aware that yes, sometimes things are going to be difficult. Don't sugarcoat it. That's just the way it's going to be. Things are going to be difficult. But if you persevere and you keep working at it, you're going to accomplish it. And once you accomplish it, you're going to feel great about yourself. Conclude the exercise by emphasizing the importance of recognizing and appreciating what they've done. And hopefully they do recognize that. I've had kids at the dojo here that have started, and it's taking several years. And I'm super proud of those kids. I had kids who needed to be, gently shoved into the school to kind of come and take classes. One of the things that I do as part of my testing process is I give the kids a word. And it could be courage, it could be perseverance, it could be desire, it could be goals. But they have to write a short essay, 2 paragraphs. What does the word mean? What does the word mean to you? And give me an example of what you've done in relation to that word. And I do have some kids that struggle to stand up in front of their peers and parents and read. And one of those students recently just did an amazing job. I've seen a 180-degree turn in this one student. And it's amazing, amazing, amazing to see. They work hard every single class. They're now taking a leadership role. They're doing warm-ups. They're helping in the classes with my 3 and 4-year-olds and my 5 and 6-year-olds. Those are tough classes to manage and tough kids to teach. They're all over the place. So being able to have that patience and being able to relate to that age group and get down on your hands and knees at their level is amazing to see her and the other students doing that. Their level of confidence has just skyrocketed through the various years that they've been here, and it's amazing to see. I hope you enjoy this video. I didn't mention it at the beginning, but if you're still with me, subscribe to my channel here, and I look forward to putting some others videos out on our series of Unleashing Confidence, the Hiscoe Jiu-Jitsu